In this video, I'll show you August 16, 2015. In 2015, 46-year-old Lakeport resident Bradley Feynman, along with his two sons, drove through an agricultural inspection station on Interstate 80 in Truckee, California, near the Nevada-California border in an attempt to film a video about the constitutional legitimacy of the station. After passing through the station twice without incident, the family was stopped and procedurally asked whether they were in possession of agricultural contraband.
Questions?
Right in.
What's that? How you doing?
We'd like to go. Yeah, we're gonna go.
You're gonna go?
Yeah.
This is just an agricultural inspection. I'm wondering where you're traveling from.
It's none of your business.
None of my business?
Yeah.
Hey, Stacy, can I get your help out here, please?
I'd like to keep driving.
I actually need to know if you have any agricultural articles on board.
No, you don't.
I do.
No.
It's my job.
We're gonna drive. We're gonna keep driving.
No.
Thank you.
See, you're free to go. Your vehicle.
Oh, okay.
No, your vehicle needs to stay here.
No. I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
He's refusing inspection.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep driving.
If you keep driving, I will contact the authorities and have them bring you back to the facility. We do need to conduct an inspection on the vehicle.
No, you don't.
Sorry.
I
can't hear you with the window open. So.
Okay, so
This is a potential.
do you have a warrant? Do you have a warrant? You're not inspecting anything without a warrant.
Okay.
Do you have a warrant?
I don't need a warrant.
Yes, you do. Do you know the Fourth Amendment?
There is no search here. This is
Then you're not going to inspect.
Well, you're speaking of an amendment that specifies searching.
It's the
We are
freedom.
not searching, and we
It's
are
a
not
freedom
searching
from
your
being
person.
inspected, searched.
Well, no. You're
Yeah,
speaking of
do you know
two
the Fourth
separate-
Amendment?
You're speaking of two separate incidents, or
So in other words, I'm free from warrantless searches.
there is no search here. There is an inspection.
What are you inspecting?
The conveyance needs
What
to
are
be
you
inspected
inspecting?
for agricultural hosts.
What are you inspecting?
We're inspecting for a number of different items. Too many for me to go into with you at this time.
And
If you'd
where
like to
are you
pull over,
inspecting?
I can go ahead and present you
No,
with
I'm
the
going to keep
quarantine
driving.
hearing. Well, if you do that, I'll go ahead and call the authorities and have them bring you back.
For
And
what?
That's your option.
So what part of the vehicle are you planning to inspect?
Well, we need to inspect the back of the vehicle and any ice
The
chests
back, you
you
mean
might
like?
have on board.
Oh, you mean inside?
That's
So
right.
that's a search.
It's not a search, it is an inspection.
It's not a search? That's exactly what a search is. Don't you understand the Bill of Rights?
I'm not going to engage in this with you.
In other words, you
We'll
don't
have an
understand the
inspection
Fourth
for-
Amendment.
Well, if you'd like to travel into California without the vehicle being inspected,
That's
I will
exactly what I'm
contact
gonna
the
do.
authorities and have them bring you back, and we will conduct the inspection.
No, you're not.
Or they can
You're not
take you
doing
back out of
any.
state.
You're not doing any search
I've never
whatsoever.
said the word search. I'm not.
I don't care
searching
what
your
you call it. If you open up this
Well, then you're
vehicle to
talking
inspect,
about something other than the Fourth Amendment.
no, I'm not. You might want to call it something different, but if you try to get inside this vehicle, that's a search. That's a warrantless
You
search.
do not have to say yes, but the conveyance will not pass this point.
Yes, it will.
without being inspected.
You want to watch? Because it will. Are we free to go?
No,
So you're detaining me.
no,
So then I'm free to go.
no. You
Okay.
are free to go. The conveyance will not
Okay.
pass the inspection point.
Am
without
I and my
inspection.
property, are we free to go?
You are free to go anywhere you'd like to in
You
California.
can't seize my
The
property.
conveyance will not pass
That's
the
my
inspection
property.
point.
What I think is interesting is the variety of words that she's using. Instead of search, she's using inspection. So an inspection apparently isn't the same thing as a search.
While an inspection is technically considered a search, there's a lawful distinction between an administrative inspection and a search executed by police officers. In the 1967 case of Camara 5 Municipal Court, the court determined that because an agricultural inspection is not a search which has as its design the securing of information which may be used to effect a further deprivation of life, liberty, or property, and the fact that it is doubtful that any other canvass technique would achieve acceptable results, the necessity for these searches satisfies the probable cause requirements. In the 1980 California Court of Appeals case of People v. Dickinson, The court noted that it is impossible for probable cause to develop for the plant quarantine officer to believe a maggot-infested, quarantined, pest-ridden orange was in the trunk of a vehicle, and that it is reasonable to assume that a piece of fruit or other plant tossed into the trunk may be forgotten, or totally unknown to the adult in the vehicle. Given that the motorists are not taken into custody if they possess offending plants, and that the quarantine officers are looking for offending plants not contraband, the inherent time constraint of a warrant only hinders the effectiveness of the inspection stations, and are in turn not a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Multiple other court decisions have affirmed that inspection stations are not in violation of the Fourth Amendment, and Mr. Feynman is effectively saying that his literal interpretation of the Fourth Amendment is more accurate than the plethora of legal scholars and professionals which have dedicated years to studying and understanding.
What's your definition of an inspection?
Looking in the vehicle for possible host material,
Okay.
for agricultural pests.
Okay. What is your definition of a search?
I don't have a definition for a search. I don't
You
search.
don't.
I inspect.
So you think that word frees you from the obligations? You think that frees you? It gives you some right above the Constitution?
Not really sure what your question is.
The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things.
Control Code 5344 states that it is unlawful for the operator of any vehicle to fail to stop the vehicle at an inspection station, or to willfully avoid an inspection station, or to fail to stop either upon the demand of a clearly identified plant quarantine officer or upon the demand of the California Highway Patrol for the purposes of determining whether any quarantine is in violation. While Mr. Feynman did stop at the station, he did not allow the inspection officer to determine whether any material in his conveyance was in violation of a quarantine order. Come out, get a ticket for the agricultural.
Violation, and you're on your way, or you're gonna be going to jail tonight. What's your choice?
So they have a right to search my vehicle without a warrant?
No. Or you can refuse the search and go back to Nevada.
I live in California.
I get it. You can refuse the search, but you have to go back to Nevada.
Do you have a warrant?
We don't need a warrant. You're in violation of the law.
I'm not in violation of the law.
Okay, make your choice.
I have the Fourth Amendment right here.
Make your choice. Do you want to go to jail or just sign a ticket?
Why would I go to jail?
What happens is not only you're going to go to jail, depending on their age, they're also going to go to Child Protective Services. And the car.
You're threatening to take my children from me?
Yes, we are.
Wow.
So come on out, let's write a ticket, and you're on your way.
You can write a ticket and hand it right to me.
No, I don't even have an ID. Let me see your driver's license.
I didn't violate any traffic violation.
Give me your driver's license and registration and insurance. I'll write the ticket, and you're out of here.
No, I didn't violate any laws.
Okay, I'm trying to make this easy on you.
I'd like to go. That would be easy.
The videotape was going to show how unreasonable you're being, right?
Well, actually, I'm a free citizen. Did you guys take an oath to defend the Constitution?
Oh, so you're a constitutionalist is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Hell yeah.
What are you?
We've had problems with this before. But listen to me.
You've what?
What's that? Problems with this before.
You've had problems with this before?
Yes, I have had
You're
problems.
a cop.
With a constitutionalist?
Absolutely.
Did you take an oath to defend the Constitution?
Here, let's do this. You only have two choices.
I'm not sidetracking. I have a right to go about my business, to be free of searches and seizures.
Sign a ticket and be on your way.
So Amendment 4 says the right of the people to be secure in their persons,
We're gonna go.
houses.
We'll be right back.
You don't want to listen?
Oh, hey, one thing. Can you have him put his seatbelt on?
Yeah,
My seatbelt is on.
Can you just roll down the window a little bit so I can talk to you?
Yeah, who are you?
My name's Eric Strecker. I'm a sergeant with the Highway Patrol.
Okay.
I'm off duty because they're dealing with you. And
Yeah, what's your badge number?
16035. Roll down the window so I can talk to you because I can't communicate through a window.
That's as far as I'd like to roll it down.
It's not even down.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so listen, I'm just going to be very honest and tell you how this is going to go down, okay? They need to get some information from you. So
They
can
have
write,
no right
Hold
to.
on, just listen. This is my turn. I'm going to tell you how it's going to go, okay? They're going to write you a ticket, and that's all this is. Can you put, so I need to have eye communication. What's all I'm doing. Just don't keep it in my face. Yeah. So all he wants to do is write you a ticket. If you can't do that, I'm just being very honest. We're going to have to break the window and get in and take you out, and then you have to go to jail. So this is totally unnecessary, and you don't need to go through this.
It's unnecessary on your part. I would like to travel home.
This is your choice right now. This is not something I want to do. You're not cooperating.
Giving you every opportunity we can. I haven't broken any law. In the 1972 case of Adams 50 Williams, the Supreme Court rejected the notion that reasonable cause for an investigative stop can only be based on the officer's personal observation, rather than information supplied by another person, and declared that a report of criminal activity by a relatively credible source can serve as reasonable suspicion to conduct a stop. The court expounded upon the Williams ruling in the 2014 case of Navarrete v. California by declaring that even an anonymous tip can serve as reasonable suspicion in certain circumstances. Even if Mr. Feynman truly hadn't broken the law at the inspection station, the officers had been summoned by a reliable source, which gives them reasonable suspicion to execute a traffic stop. It is against California law for a driver to refuse to present an identification during a traffic stop, even if the driver believes the stop is unlawful. Is committing an offense that is completely separate from the original agricultural code violation. Do you want to give the driver's license?
Up right now, or do you want me to break your window?
I would like to be free of searches and seizures, yes, unless you have a warrant. Do you have a warrant?
Do you want me to break your window right now or not?
Do you have a warrant?
We don't need a warrant right now.
You don't need a warrant?
Not for a citation. No, you don't.
You need a warrant to search my vehicle. That's the original cause.
I'm going to break this one if you're okay with it, because I'm
not okay with you breaking any of my property.
Let's break the window so we can get in and get them out.
Okay.
This is your choice right now.
No, it isn't my choice. Don't break my vehicle.
The door's going down.
Don't break my window.
I don't want you to get hurt.
Don't break my window. You will be sued for breaking my window.
I'm breaking your window, and you're going to get drug out, and you're going to jail.
You have no warrant.
What was the original stop for? Running the bug? Not stopping the stop sign?
No, I stopped.
And he was there for a while.
I filmed it.
Before we could get there. So
no.
You didn't refuse an inspection. You don't have to be inspected. You can go back to Nevada and sign a piece of paper. And it's not a search. It's an inspection.
We don't want to search you.
We don't want to search. I want you to sign a ticket right now, and that's it, and you're on your way.
Then give me the ticket.
I need your license, registration, and insurance.
A ticket for violating the ag inspection?
Write you a section for the Food and Ag Code for violating that section. And then you can go to court on it. Believe me, I'd want to do it this way. I don't want to break a window. I don't have to take the kids.
But I'd like to be free from all these searches. I'd like to be free to just go.
Nobody's searing anything. I will not search the vehicle. Just hand me that stuff.
She's threatened to search my vehicle. I said no. I don't want to be searched.
If you're under arrest, we're going to inventory the vehicle.
You need probable cause.
We don't.
Mr. Feynman went to court in Truckee and was convicted of obstructing or resisting an officer by using threats or force, failing to obey the lawful order of an officer, and refusing to comply with an inspection. Vincent Feynman was also convicted of obstructing or resisting an officer by using threats or force. Mr. Feynman was sentenced to 12 days in the Nevada County Jail and 30 hours of community service, and his son was sentenced to 4 days in jail and 20 hours of community service. Initially facing felony accusations, the Feynmans were convicted of misdemeanors. Overall, Mr. Feynman gets an F for being grossly misinformed on the intricacies of the Fourth Amendment and constitutional law as a whole, subjecting his family to a potentially dangerous encounter with police officers to illustrate a petty and ignorant interpretation of individual rights, and for giving the constitutional activism community a bad reputation. Reputation by engaging in poorly planned and executed acts of rebellion. As an activist, it is your duty to fully comprehend the broad spectrum of nuances surrounding your cause, and Mr. Feynman's lack of clarity concerning agricultural inspection stations and their association with the Fourth Amendment is a testament to his shallow interpretation of the Constitution. If Mr. Feynman's true goal was to challenge the legitimacy of inspection stations, then he should have complied with the ticket and and used his constitutional rhetoric to potentially argue his case in a courtroom rather than putting himself and his family at risk. Mr. Feynman's interaction is a prime example of the reckless conduct which will ultimately have a devastating impact on the legitimacy of the constitutional activism movement. And I urge fellow activists to exercise a degree of caution and expertise before carelessly invoking your individual rights. The responding officers of the California Highway Patrol get an A for their unceasing patience, professionalism, and civility. The CHP officers exhausted all alternatives before forcefully entering the vehicle and attempted to reason with Mr. Feynman as much as possible. Upon entering the vehicle, the officers maintained concern for the safety of Mr. Feynman and his family and never brandished a weapon or threatened violence. I commend these officers for acting reasonably and within the bounds of their authority and for their willingness to compromise. With Mr. Feynman, despite the absurdity of his conduct, Mr. Feynman could have driven home with little more than a citation and a chance to present his case in a courtroom, but instead he solely escalated this interaction into an arrest at no fault of the officers. Thank you very much for watching the video. Subscribe our channel for next video.